Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm here on behalf of Aphrodisiac Theatre News, which covers African Caribbean theatre productions across the UK. It's an absolute pleasure and an honour to be speaking to the both of you today. After many, many years of seeing you on screen, so to actually have this conversation, I will try and remember it's an interview. So I'm going to try and stay professional. I'm not going to get too excited or excitable, but I do appreciate the time that we're having today. And I'm really excited to be talking about your latest project. You've been described as two titans of African theatre, film and TV. I'm sure you hear this all the time. And you've been cast as the lead characters in The Death and the King's Horseman for Utopia Theatre and Sheffield Theatre, which is really, really exciting. And having a chance to speak to yourselves on this platform is really, really something that's significant as a member of the Nigerian diaspora. But I think for any theatre lover, it's going to be an exciting production. And it's a story that some people might know, maybe not, but I think a lot of people really, really enjoy that both of you are bringing to life. So I'd love to hear from the both of you really briefly what you're going to bring to these characters, how this is going to be slightly different from anything else, and what it looks like for you in terms of reimagining the characters on stage. So I'm going to do a quick formal introduction of yourselves quickly, and then I'm going to get into the questions. So Wale Ojo is to take on the role of Elesin Oba, the King's Horseman, while Kehinde Bankole will be Iyaloja, the mother of the market, to be staged at the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield from the Monday, the 3rd of February, 2025. Tell me about the complexities of your character, please. Wale, please go into a deep dive about the complexity of your character, who is bound by duty, but also personal desire. Quite a sexy character. How did you prepare to embody this role?
Well, can I give the baton first to Kehinde? Ladies first. I am being a Yoruba gentleman.
Oh, I love it.
It is Kehinde Bankole that must speak first.
So first of all, hi Ronke. Very nice to spend some time here with you. We know once we're spending time with you, we're spending time with everyone in the diaspora. We're spending time with as many people as trust what you say, listen to you. You know, I'm always here to hear from your side. So it's hi to you and hi to the rest of the world. Mr. Wale did us, Mr. Ojo, he did us a very beautiful one there right now, knowing especially that Elesin Oba this time around is going to be handled with extra, how do I say it now from Iyaloja? I'll leave that. I'll leave that to the rest of the in the course of the interview. Some of that will come out, I believe. Thank you, Mr. Ojo, for allowing the ladies to go first. And I mean, when our men do this, it now makes us want to return that honor 500 times more. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
my pleasure, darling.
So thank you so much, sir. So I'm Kehinde Bankole. I will be playing the mother of the market, Iyaloja. That's my role in The Death and the King's Horseman.
And you play such a pivotal figure. It's a powerful figure, matriarchal, as we would describe it. Where did you draw your inspiration from as you brought this character as well? Well, you've not brought it to life yet, but when you bring this character to life, where will you be drawing your inspiration from?
That will be the energy all around me, all around us. The energy, the directives, the spoken things, the unspoken things, the nuances. So I believe I can speak for myself, I think. I feel like some kind of canvas at the beginning. I don't know. My Yoruba English might be coming into the pronunciation of things. I don't know if they say canvas or whatever, but we come bare. Yes, English is not my first language. So I try not to stress myself.
No,
but I was trying to describe something. That. Go on, please.
Go on. I love that. Sorry, you got me so excited because I love having this the beauty of this conversation, and this is where, even when you first entered our space right now, is you open up to we're a global diaspora, right? And even myself, right? I was born in the UK, and so I should probably also open up my caveats. My pronunciation sometimes, Yoruba words, is not going to be phonetically perfect. As long as you're getting it, you're getting it. And I'm getting what you're saying. You've got the way you speak is beautiful. But again, I'm going to try and stay professional and not fangirl too much. So
Thank you.
please, keep going. We can hear you all day.
So I believe that we are like, I'm currently at the moment still bare, even though I've soaked in a bit of stuff. I know where we're going, but all the same, until we get to the playing field and I have the opportunity to listen to the director a little more, I have the opportunity to work with the rest of the ensemble. There's a community that will be joining in the performance as well, who are not professional actors, but who are actors and players in life. And they will come as real as we can have it. I mean, all of this is what I'm going to get the opportunity to soak in, to now say, here we are. But for now, it is just a lot of information, a lot of preparedness, a lot of so just imagine that it's like a bare canvas waiting for a lot to spring off from it, to be painted on it. But I can promise you for sure that we will be telling a story that is different. We will be telling this from a very fresh, strong, inspiring perspective.
How exciting. Thank you for sharing that. Now, please, sir, the King's Horseman, tell us how you'll be embodying that role. What unique aspects of his character will actually resonate with you, in fact, personally?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Ronke, Lawal, Utopia Theatre, everybody there in the diaspora. Thank you, and thanks very much for this opportunity. And firstly, I am glad that it's Kehinde Bankole that's playing Iyaloja, because we've had a long association together. We've done films together. We've worked together a lot. And I'm very excited to looking forward to that combination of work that we're going to put on stage. As far as Elesin Oba is concerned, well, he's a man of many worlds. He's a gregarious character. He's full of life. He's full of passion. He's a very greedy man. So there's there's a lot that is going to go in there. But as Kehinde said, it's an ensemble piece, and it carries itself with a particular kind of energy, and I think it is that energy that we're going to take it and catapult ourselves into the play. It's a very different kind of story. It's not it's not Goldilocks, it's a complex play. The character is extremely complex, but what I do like about the character that I am going to embody as much as I can is his love for life. And it comes in at a moment when he has to live life.
Got it.
As an L-A-V-E, not L-I-V-E. So. And so there's just so many aspects there that to explore. I couldn't even begin to tell you where one will start. But everything begins at the point A once we enter into the market. And one thing I do know, Elesin Oba is a man who lives in the marketplace. He breathes in the marketplace. So himself and the Iyaloja is like he's there every day, He's almost like the head of the market women, except he's not.
Well, he's not.
He's the King's Horseman. He's the King's Horseman, and he has a duty to perform in the marketplace.
Got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. We appreciate that explanation and that insight into your character and into the role. wanted to talk about how contemporary audiences are going to resonate with the production itself. You know, it deals with the definite King's Horseman deals with duty, colonialism, cultural conflict, you know, passion, relationships. These, you know, how do these themes, how do they relate, and how are they relevant to contemporary audiences? And what messages did you want theatre goers to take away from this production? I'll leave it to either of you to answer this question. Who would like to answer?
Kehinde, you want to go or should I go?
So many important topics now in the world, that theatre being a place for you to enjoy, but also listen to certain important things, will be the best place for us to deal with certain topics that we have now. We know that, well, the men folk are trying. They're doing, well, their best to make sure that women's voices are heard, women's rights and respect isn't trampled on. And that's, I mean, there are a couple of sensitive things out there relating to how the position and the role of a woman is seen, is respected, and how they're allowing it to evolve over time. So this show particularly, I see as an opportunity to express the woman's standpoint, that it's not a competition. It is where we are rightfully made to be, you know, and we would want our men not to be afraid and to let us, because we see in politics, we see even in the home front sometimes that the roles and the positions, the lines between it are getting a little bit blurred over time as the world is evolving, as, you know, life is advancing, education is coming in, exposure is coming in. We have people who, there were roles, certain roles, well, being an African, there were certain roles that the women were known to simply be playing then. And so therefore they felt, so if that's your role, then this is where your voice should be limited. But now that women are playing beyond those roles, it should naturally just evolve and, you know, go into this new phase that should be in. But we're finding ourselves having to communicate this. We're finding ourselves having to express this all the time. I'm hoping that this show will be performed in such a way that we don't need to say anything or prove anything. We just hold our place, and the audience, being both male and female anyway, will clearly see. The women will see their power and their position as Iyaloja stands, as she's using her power and her position. And the men will also see that her power and her position is vital, even to their own success. Is vital to how the society will thrive. The role of a woman cannot be overemphasized. And for us to have to explain this sometimes, have to fight for this sometimes, is what I'm hoping that show will clearly state for everyone to see, you know. So that's one thing I'm hoping they'll take home away from that.
Wow, thank you. That was a powerful message.
Iyaloja.
Yeah, that's a powerful message. Wow. Wow. Did you have anything you wanted to add? Wale?
Well, I don't know. I think Kehinde is being too kind. Personally, I feel that Elesin Oba is the most male chauvinistic person you can ever meet. You know, he is, but he does it because that's the culture. That's the culture, and in his mind, it's very complex. There's his wife. No man has the power or the courage to dispute that. That requires a deeper level of understanding. You know, that we will bring out in the play. Basically, there are two worlds that are going on.
Got it.
The physical and the non-physical.
Got it.
And there's one particular world where women are complete rulers. There's nothing you can do. When you see them, you must prostrate. In that world. In the physical, in this realm, well, things happen, like they say it's culture, they say this, they say that. But then we will leave that to further exploration when we get in. If I'm going to get into that right now, then we have started the play.
Yeah, we'd be on this conversation for hours. But it's deep, and I think it's really important to have those deep, nuanced layers layered conversation. We're talking about such an enriching and bold production as this. So I appreciate both of your answers are just really powerful, and I'm sure those of the viewers and listeners of this interview are going to take a lot away. I wanted us to touch on the production itself, the creative vision of Utopia Theatre. How has it been? What was how has it been like just working with them so far? And also, yourselves together. I know you're preparing for, February coming up, but how has it been working together, or at least preparing for it, preparing for this production? How has it been?
Well, I mean, for me, it's been interesting. We've had several discussions, we've had meetings. Kehinde and I talk regularly. In fact, we just finished the movie. What was it, Kehinde? I think several months ago with a friend of ours, Chris O'Day. And so we talk. We could have had more meetings, but time and what we're doing always comes into play. But I think we have a very strong idea of the objective, particularly of Elesin Oba and Iyaloja, and that idea will be further developed when we start the work with Mojisola as the director of the piece. And we've had conversations about where we want to go, and Moji has introduced one or two ideas which I think will be really helpful in the nuances in bringing out this play. I don't want to give it all away, but she's already suggested one or two ideas that I think will be very helpful in terms of one, understanding, and two, what this play really is about. In fact, those ideas are actually very, very significant to the understanding of this play of Death in the King's Horseman.
Excellent. Thank you. Did you want to add?
Oh, well, how has it been preparing?
Yes.
It's been very nice. We've delved with it's been refreshing because we've had like you mentioned, our different heavy schedules that has pulled us in, all sorts of direction, and many of them quite different from what this is. So it's a good thing to be brought back to the base of the spirituality of the Yoruba people, our culture, our own role as individuals, as professionals also, in being the one to propagate this gospel of our tradition, our culture as a people. So it's sort of like, it's like a break in between all that is going on, every other thing going on, to come back to look at our culture again. What have we learned so far from all the places and things we've been doing, to come and contribute? And so when you're called onto a show, it's like, oh, it's time to learn new things. It's time to unlearn certain things. Okay, let's come together and see where this takes us. And of course, with the direction of Ms. Mojisola, the director. So we will definitely be bringing on nuances, like I mentioned, that we'll be picking up from some of the plans that she has for the project. I'm really quite looking forward to the rehearsal.
Yes.
The rehearsal. That's when we will be able to sharpen the edges of things and fine-tune things. So yeah, so far so good.
Love it. Thank you. And I wanted to touch on, you've referenced culture, specifically Yoruba culture, and I think both of you have referenced it. I think it's really important for stories and productions like this to keep getting put on in countries where some of us, whether we're highly connected, so whether we go back home, quote unquote, regularly, or we don't, there's a whole generation of youngsters from Nigerian communities, but also across West Africa, across Africa and the Caribbean, who are just linking into learning more about different cultural heritage. I wanted to ask you, how do you ensure there's authenticity in the way in which your characters are presented on stage? How do you make sure that you are connecting with audience members, even those who have absolutely no idea, they don't know anything about Yoruba culture or anything about, most people know about Nigeria, obviously, everybody knows about Nigeria, but just people who are just new to that space. How do you make sure there's an authenticity So you're not dumbing it down, but you're also making it relatable so they can still connect, if you get what I'm saying, like connect. If it's a new, like a lesson, it's a storytelling, you're trying to teach them something, be authentic, but also not lose them by getting too caught up in that kind of a complexity of Yoruba culture. How do you do that? Like either of you to take on that question or answer that question.
Well, you know, Yoruba culture is actually not as complex as you think, but it's also not as simple as you think. So there are always layers going on. There's always layers going on, constantly layers going on. And it's actually there within the language.
Yeah.
You know, there are three tones to the Yoruba language.
Yeah.
Mi, re, do re, mi. That's it. But with those three tones, millions of meaning.
Exactly.
So simplicity and complexity in one knot kernel.
Yeah.
So it really, like I said, the deeper you go into it, it's a kind of like it's actually over to the audience. They will take from it what they can understand.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know about Kehinde, but I've spent some time in England, so I think I have quite a good understanding of the English culture as embraced by English and non-English. Do you understand? So I think I also have an understanding of how they approach African theater or African stories, you know, and it's always, I always find it very fascinating. So I would say at the end of the day, you take from it as to where your level of understanding is. Because as far as authenticity goes, I can only speak for myself. I have to be as completely authentic as I possibly can, without no kind of, oh, I need to give people a soft landing so you can understand the culture better.
That's it. Good. Love that.
Yeah. You know, you have to, it is what it is. And depending on your own understanding and maturity, you will take from it what you can take from it, and then we'll leave the rest to the gods.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. I agree. What do you have anything you'd like to add as well, Kehinde?
Is actually puts everything. If I might add anything, it would just be, he's talked about the language, he's touched on nearly, just as I would have loved to put it, is how he put it, especially the area where he said, there's no way to teach the culture in a soft, it's the culture, it is what it is. So it's not like we're trying to sound in a certain way or trying to behave in a certain way so it's easier for people to understand. But I could just add that Africans are so, performance of the African theater is so beautiful that even the music tells you what language will not be able to do for you. Then even the way we touch our feet when it touches the ground, the rhythm we make. When an African man bends, he hasn't started dancing. Even from just bending, you know the type of dance he's about. You know if it's going to be intense, if it's going to be fierce. Our body speaks. Our music speaks. So all these elements put together, the staging, the lighting, the music, the sound, it will do all the work. It will. By the time we come, we are just going to be ourselves, just like he said.
Thank you. Wow. Powerful, powerful, powerful answers. And this is where it's important to highlight that this is almost a legacy imprint. Like this production is definitely part of your legacy as creatives, as it almost feels like you're also scholars of the arts, and you're not only scholars of the arts, but you're teaching the arts in a sense and creativity on stage, particularly given the literary significance of this production. So I'd like to just, without giving any spoilers, just giving a hint of a spoiler, would you be able to let us know from your perspective, what are what do you think the most poignant or evocative moment will be from this production? It can be just a moment, it can be just a scene or a piece of dialogue, but is there anything that you think will cause a real reaction and get the audience just to stop and just go, wow? Is there anything you can give us without giving too much away? But is there anything that you got when you read the script, you were like, okay, this is going to, this is going to do it? Is it possible?
Hey, this is very difficult to say without giving it away, because there is always a moment for me when I read the play that has always stuck with me as one of the most powerful moments of this piece. It is just stunning in its directness, in its potency, and in its authenticity. I'm not going to tell you who says it, but I'm sure you can guess. But it comes almost in the form of a dressing down. It comes almost in the form of an order. It comes almost in the form of I told you so, but you would not listen. And it comes like so powerfully that, I mean, the walls shake. The doors, they break. The wind, it blows when it comes. You know, and when it comes so powerfully that an audience cannot but be moved by it. It's impossible not to be moved by it. I can't tell you specifically what it is, but I know Kenny knows what I'm talking about. But
okay.
But it's such a poignant moment in this play that you go, what? You almost freak out.
Okay, I'm excited. This is why I asked that question, because we want to make sure those who are tuning into this interview are going to really like buy those tickets, go and get their seats immediately. Thank you so much. And then do you be able to answer that question? Just a little nugget.
Nothing will top that. Nothing will top that. If I do anything else, then we should just keep them where we've left them now. Let's not leak anything out, because where he's going is such a powerful place. Such a powerful place. I am looking forward to everyone being brought on to that point as well. So let's just leave.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, I've got 4 quick fire questions I want to shoot at you really quick. So you've got a minute to kind of just answer these questions. So each of you have to answer these questions. And yeah, let's get to the quick fire questions from Aphrodisiac Theatre News. So I'd like to ask, what's your earliest memory of going to the theatre? So the both of you, what did you see?
Well, the earliest memory of me going to the theatre was watching one of the most prominent female writers of African theatre ever, really. And her name was Miss Zulu Shofola. And she did a play called Wedlock of the Gods, in which my mother, who was her best friend, played Ogwama. Oh, wow. And another guy played Uloko. I don't know if your audience know the play. But the play is called Wedlock of the Gods, written by Zulu Shofola, and she was, if not one of the first most prominent African female writers in the realm of theatre on the continent. So that was, for me, I experienced that theatrical moment when I was about 8 years old.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kehinde, your turn?
Yes, mine was I think I was about 13, and I'd gone to they call them the Acts of Apostles theatre group. It was the Redeemed Christian Church of God that used to have that drama troupe then, and they had there was a performance going on. I can't remember what the play was called now, but it was something about something about the ancestors. I was really quite. It came to me unexpectedly, so I wasn't prepared to. I didn't know anything about that show. I'd gone there for something else. It was we had just started going to that church, and I'd just gone there, and I didn't know anything about the title, but I just knew that what had just happened, what I'd just seen, I wanted to be a part of it. And I think it was then I joined that drama group, and that started it for me. But I think it was called something about the ancestors. I cannot remember at the moment.
Got it.
Yes.
Sounds transformative. If you could invite anyone to see you, dead or alive, at the press night, so first night of the production, who would it be? What's the name? Who would it be?
My mother. My mother.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Wale? Same for me, my mother.
Lovely, lovely. What's the most recent play or dance performance that you've seen on stage?
On stage?
Yeah.
Well, I just saw 3-4 weeks ago? I can't even remember now. Coriolanus at the National.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so that was the last play that I saw on stage. Yeah.
Okay. And anything from you?
Oh yes, for me it was at Terra Culture. They had a festival recently. It was the Forgotten Man. That's the one I saw. Okay,
good. That's great. That's a good one. And finally, just to sum it up and round up our conversation today, why should we come and see the show? You've kind of already answered it through the context of our conversation, but one last line just to reiterate why everybody should come and see production.
I think everybody should come and see this production because it's a landmark production. You know, it's a new kind of theater, and it's invigorating theater. So if you want to be invigorated, and not only invigorated, but invigorated with vigor and even extra vigor, and leave the theater thoroughly enlightened, emboldened, empowered, and inspired, you must come and see Death and the King's Horseman at the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield.
Awesome. Okay. And did you want to leave a line? One more line?
Ronke's like, okay, one more. Okay.
Okay. What else can I add to that? Yes, there's a director that has a very fresh perspective to certain things that maybe they've seen before, maybe they've heard before. Her name is Mojisola Kareem. We're looking forward to coming on board to make that her perspective seen. They shouldn't miss out on that. It's something I've done over and over again with her, that I've worked with Utopia Theatre because of how she says things, how she sees things, how she communicates things. It's an experience I'd love them to have. And every other thing he said, fantastic time. Fantastic time. They would not want to miss out on that.
Oh gosh. Oh, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate this conversation. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and your authenticity. Key word there, authenticity. Thank you. Have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Bye.